The Lakers are basically telling LeBron James, hey man, it's time to put it up because this trade spells a lot for the Los Angeles Lakers and their future and what they really want to do now. But to be honest, the Lakers and LeBron has had a pretty much mutual relationship where LeBron got everything out of them. He got the team that he wanted each and every year. And, the Lakers got a championship after being a team and an organization that was pretty much a laughing stock all the way up until the end of Kobe Bryant's career. And then, when he retired, it was pretty much the same thing. And so the ashes that they were in, blown away by LeBron James joining the franchise and trying to, do something historic. And so for me, it's more like a nice family ending to a really good mutual relationship where everybody kind of got what they want out of it, and there's still a little bit more that you can kind of eke out of it, because after they won the championship, they pretty much gutted their roster and didn't keep anybody after 1 to 2 years. But LeBron James still actually kept them afloat and even got them to the Western Conference Finals against Denver, which they lost that year. But still, nobody would ever expect him and the Lakers to get with that roster to the Western Conference Finals, especially with the coach that they had in Darvin Ham. And so he was able to pretty much keep the team competitive for a long time, especially when he's like 80 years old in basketball years. And so it's really kind of astonishing that he was able to do that. But even the Los Angeles Lakers upper management knows that he can't keep doing this forever, and you can kind of tell the writing is on the wall, not just because like his athleticism has declined or anything like that, but simply because you can't keep somebody who you are paying so much money on the roster without actually delivering a lot of results. And so LeBron, he understands that, hey, listen, I got like a couple more years left, and he's said this in the media multiple times. And the Lakers have heard that. And, at first you would think that, they're just going to continue to do what they've always done. And Rob Pelinka has done a pretty masterful job, in my opinion, in getting talent to be on the team. However, I feel like that talent has kind of just not played up to expectations, even though the talent on that team is not that bad. They have pretty good point guards, and they have really, really good wings. And even when Anthony Davis was on the team, they was pretty good in terms of defending the paint. And then, you have JJ Redick joining the team and making their offense being a little bit more standardized, a little bit more modernized than what Darvin Ham was doing the year prior. But you can only do so much with an aging star and a co-star that is simply, you don't know whether or not he's going to be healthy. Even though he has been healthy for the last couple of years, his injury-prone nature is something that you really cannot, bet on. And so the Lakers betted on themselves. They said, okay, listen, we're going to make this trade. We're going to take away your best buddy, your long-standing partner in Anthony Davis, and we're going to get somebody who is blockbuster. And honestly, they fleeced the Dallas Mavericks, to be honest. Getting Luka Doncic in a trade like this was simply world-shattering. So much so that you had other organizations thinking that they can do the same thing, where every single organization was trying to get the sweepstakes on Kevin Durant, even though Kevin Durant has never indicated that he was going to leave his franchise. But that blockbuster trade was simply a market reset because people were not expecting that, and now you're going to see a lot more bombastic trades. And of course, the trades are done right now, but off-season moves, expect that to happen. But this trade, which it was a blockbuster, did seem really unbalanced. And it seemed really unbalanced because I think people were easily understanding on how the implications for the Lakers' future is going to go. And since the writing is on the wall, you might as well say it now, that this trade is basically saying, hey, listen, LeBron, it's time for you to go. Because we're done making a team that is going to fit your game style. We need somebody who's young, somebody who's newer, somebody who is a little bit more fresh, somebody who we can build around for the next 10 years. And it's not a disrespect thing, but it is something that the Lakers have to do for their future, because before Luka Doncic, they didn't have really a clue on what's going to happen after LeBron James retires, because Anthony Davis is not going to stay there after he retires anyway. And so Luka Doncic comes on the team, and in my opinion, I think one of the more impactful players, of course Luka Doncic is impactful, but one of the more impactful players on the roster is really Maxi Kleber and the new pickup, Mark Williams. Mark Williams is a pretty good lob threat, and he plays decent and good enough defense and great rim protection. He's just not going to be the guy or the big to guard against, your top bigs in the league like Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, or even Anthony Davis, as many people have remembered that Anthony Davis literally dropped 40 and 20 on his head. But I don't think he's going to be starting anyway. What I think, if the Lakers are really, really smart, is that they will utilize a LeBron James, Luka Doncic lineup, but have Maxi Kleber in the game so that they can open up the paint. Maxi Kleber can shoot those corner threes like he always does, and they can just kind of like just feast from the paint being open. LeBron James can just run downhill without a rim protector taking away his shots, and Luka Doncic can run the pick and roll fairly easy because there's not a lob threat. He could probably even run that with LeBron James, not in terms of being a lob threat, but somebody who you don't want to have the ball going downhill with a steam. And so this opens up a lot of avenues for this offense, especially with the way that JJ Redick simply is trying to get the best out of his players. And it seems like this is going to work out. It might be a little bit tough at first, but honestly, I don't think the honeymoon period is just going to, instantly arrive, but it may happen a lot sooner than you think. We'll see how LeBron James and Luka Doncic fits on the team, one another, especially when you look at defense. I don't believe Max Kleber is the defensive fix for Anthony Davis, and I think that Mark Williams is probably the next best, but even still, he's probably like more of a C tier / B tier rim protector versus Anthony Davis being one of the best ones in the league. And so they're going to struggle on the defensive end for sure, and that is something that JJ Redick has to understand. But regardless of what happens this year, we don't know if LeBron James is going to stay in the summer or whatnot, especially when he has time to think about it, depending on how successful the season is. But this trade kind of fixes a lot of LA's problems, because the biggest problem of LA, and you don't really got to ask any LA fan to really get this answer, but it's not really the construction of the team. The biggest problem is what's going to happen with life after LeBron. And before, you didn't really have an answer for that. You didn't really have an answer at all. You would just hope that you can recoup some picks somewhere, and he'll just kind of skirt off on the golden road. But in terms of a concrete plan, Austin Reeves is not the guy that's going to get them there. Dalton Knecht, unfortunately, was a collateral. He wasn't going to be the guy to get you there. And so it's going to take a process without the Luka Doncic trade to get them somewhere, that they just don't become one of those bottom tier teams in the NBA again. Because those last few years before LeBron James, those last 7-8 years, while Kobe Bryant was still playing, after Kobe Bryant retired, was horrible. And so you don't want to do that again. And so they got somebody pretty early. They got somebody who's pretty early in their career, pretty young in their career, 25 years old. And they can just tell LeBron, you can either retire early, which is more beneficial, or we can keep you on the team. Hopefully, you'll be inclined to restructure your contract, which is something that I think LeBron should do. Whether or not he stays and extends his contract, I think he should backload it so that they can kind of get a lot more talent now. And then if he says that I only have, maybe he'll play next year, and then the year after, he'll say that that's his last year. Of course, you have everything on the back end. We're setting things up right now to get the team more centered around Luka Doncic. It'll be kind of a win-win for both. You get paid even more than you usually do. The team can get even more players than they would have been able to afford to. And things are just kind of just running kind of smoothly. And so I think, albeit that it spells the end for LeBron James, I think this is probably one of the more gracious and one of the more best ways you can go out as a superstar, as a legend in this league, than what a lot of other legends have done. And then this also just shows that the Lakers are just simply, like I've mentioned multiple times before, they're just done with the LeBron era and they're ready to go into the next one. And so expect this team not to be built around LeBron in terms of probably getting a lob threat or probably being more guard heavy. Expect this team to be more wing heavy, kind of similar to how they are right now, but more wing heavy so that you can mitigate the defensive lack thereof when it comes to Luka Doncic and what he doesn't bring on that end, but also the versatility of being a 3-and-D player, being a player who like Najee Marshall is able to kind of get a bucket whenever they want, and just being able to hoop. Because you kind of can't really do that with LeBron. It's really difficult, especially with the system that they love playing around him in terms of like a heliocentric style of basketball. Not in the sense that he runs the ball, runs everything every single time with the ball in his hands, but everything does kind of revolve around him and how players fit around him. But now things are going to be a little bit different. Are they going to make Luka Doncic's next teams be somewhat similar to how it's always been in terms of how the Dallas Mavericks kind of structured his team until they got Kyrie Irving? Or are they going to go in a different direction? Regardless, the Lakers have made a fantastic move. They are basically giving LeBron the most gracious goodbye you possibly can do, and they have secured their future in Luka Doncic.